So if you've ever felt like you lose your footing when you're changing direction, or your touches get away from you when you try to dribble, then stick around for this video because we're going to be talking about how to dribble with balance and control. So let's break it down, and the first thing that we should talk about is body position and center of gravity. Now, for us to dribble with good balance and control, we need a good low center of gravity, which means when we're dribbling, we need to have our knees bent, slightly bent, our hips lower, and our upper body leaning slightly forward. We don't want to have our body very tall or upright because that means our center of gravity will be much higher, and we want to do our best to stay low and agile when we're dribbling. Now, of course, if you're a taller player with longer legs, then having that low center of gravity is naturally going to be a bit more difficult because you're obviously taller, you're going to be more further away from the ground, and the closer you are to the ground, the better your balance is going to be when you dribble. And so as a taller player, you want to pay even more attention to keeping your knees bent and your hips lower. Of course, don't make yourself uncomfortable and think you have to stay crouched every time you play. Let your body move in the natural way that it needs to move. Just remember that when you're dribbling, especially when there's players around you and you're in those tight areas, just remind yourself to stay low and stay balanced. And you want to use your legs as almost like shock absorbers. The lower you are, within reason of course, the more you can control your body's weight shifts and maintain control even under pressure. Now, another key aspect to dribbling with good balance and control is taking small control touches. And this is more to do with the control side of things and how we manipulate the ball. So we want to make sure we're taking small and controlled touches with the inside and outside of our foot, so we can manipulate the ball around cones if we're doing a drill, or around opponents if we're obviously in a game. If you're taking bigger touches with more steps in between your touches, then you're going to have a higher chance of losing control of the football. Plus, it means that you're kicking and chasing the ball as opposed to moving with the ball. And so that's a key difference when it comes to dribbling with control. Now, of course, are there going to be times where you'll need to take bigger touches? Yes, if you have the space. You don't need to keep the ball glued to your foot if you have open space to run into. Or even if you just want to knock it around someone, of course, that's fine. But if you want to have maximum control of the ball, and really we're talking about being in those situations where you have players all around you and you have to keep the ball really tight, then you want to make sure you're using small controlled touches when you're moving. The more frequently you touch the ball, the more control you will have. Now, this doesn't mean touching the ball 20 times per second or anything like that. It just means keeping the rhythm consistent and your touches tight so you can adjust instantly if the defender tries to come close to you. And so you can practice dribbling slowly through cones, keeping the ball no more than half a step ahead of you. Then once you can do that comfortably, you can start to add speed, but remember, you still want to make sure you have control of your touches when you're moving. Now, the final thing we're going to talk about is something that some players try to avoid. However, it is needed if you want to dribble with more balance and control. And if you just want to improve your game in general, it's still super important. And that's having good strength and stability, or specifically core stability. We can't really talk about balance and control, especially balance, without talking about core strength and stability within our bodies. Your abs, glutes, legs, and lower back are what hold your body steady when you twist, turn, and absorb contact. And so if you can strengthen those major four parts, your body will be in the best condition to dribble with good balance and control. Because to dribble with good balance and a good center of gravity and even control takes a lot out of your body physically. Especially if you're in a game and you have players around you, you want to make sure that you're strong in your core and your strength and your stability. And so you can just do simple exercises like planks, glute bridges, and single leg balance drills to help improve your on-ball stability. And so that's pretty much it. Just to summarize everything, you want to remember to stay low and maintain a strong center of gravity. Keep your knees bent and your hips low. You want to dribble with small and controlled touches using the inside and outside of your foot. And then you want to build your core strength to stay stable and balanced when you dribble. And then one more thing I'll add is just to stay relaxed and composed when you dribble. Remember, when you're dribbling with balance and control, it isn't about fancy skills or anything like that. It's about how smoothly you can move with the football, how steady you are under pressure, and how confidently you are at keeping possession in any situation. So next time you train, don't just focus on going past defenders or using skill moves. Instead, try and focus on how balanced you are when you move and manipulate the ball. Because once you master your balance and control, every dribble becomes easier, smoother, and you're more dangerous on the pitch. And so that's it for this lesson, and I'll see you guys next time.